Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. It's Monday morning. This is our Monday morning meetup. I appreciate you tapping in, jumping in to the best live chat on the internet and the most electrifying comment section on the planet. I appreciate you all. Hopefully you had a beautiful Lord's Day on yesterday. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today. I got two videos. One has been circulating around the interweb streets, the social media suburbs. A lot of you all have seen it, and it's Lauren the Mortician. I want to talk about that because I think Lauren does a fantastic job of explaining things from the service end of death care. They call it death care. And a lot of stuff we just don't know. A lot of it we don't know. And I think it's fair to say, like, hey, I don't know everything about death care. I think that's fair to say. I'm willing to admit that I don't know everything about death care. Whereas we're going to be looking at Baron Coleman, who doesn't have that level of humility. He's going to literally make, he's crafted this narrative that Charlie Kirk's, from the moment he was declared dead until he was flown out, the timeline doesn't work according to his narrative. And sad to say, nobody cares what you think, Baron. So we're going to look at Lauren the Mortician is going to break that apart. Helpful. Both of the videos are linked already down in the description of this video. So if you don't catch this or you catch it later, definitely go check them out. Or if you don't want to hear me talking about it, either way, I appreciate you today. Nobody cares what Baron thinks. But the bad thing is Baron, and I think his name is like literally ironic because he's barren of truth. He's barren of honesty. He's barren of actually wanting to be a fair dealer. He's barren of all of that. So I think it is ironic that his name is Baron. Now, granted, I know the proper spelling of his name, but I think he's barren of it. I mean, his name, he should have Ichabod over the top of his live stream. Because I mean, there's no fruit of the spirit, no evidence that you are humble at all. So I want to bring this in and let you see what you think. Oh, they will. Absolutely. Barren of a soul. Absolutely. He's barren of the evidence of the regeneration. I said that. I will stand on that. My name is Jason. All right, let's go ahead and bring Lauren the Mortician up in the building. She says a lot. And by the way, I really want you to go by, check out the video. The link is down in the description. Please go support her. She's an excellent source. If you're just interested in the morbid, I mean, pop this in here. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Okay. Hello, fellow mortals. If you're new here, hey, my name is Lauren the Mortician. Yes, a real mortician. And one thing I've learned is that whenever someone famous dies, there's always a lot of speculation about what happened. And I'm not gonna lie, I watch that content too. I like hearing different opinions. I don't like living in an echo chamber. And sometimes people ask really good questions or have really good theories. But every single time one of these cases goes viral, I'm reminded of just how much the general public doesn't know about death care. And that's not anybody's fault. Most people have never been inside of a funeral home, medical examiner's office, and have no idea what happens behind the scenes after someone dies. We've talked about Charlie Kirk quite a bit on this channel, not because I'm trying to cover every update in the case, but because it's created so many opportunities to educate people about what actually happens after death. That, and I love debunking stuff. It's my life's purpose. Now that Tyler Robinson's trial is getting closer, another wave of Charlie Kirk content is making the rounds. I came across a video by Baron Coleman, and I
hate to say it, that she like kind of giddies up on Baron. Baron Coleman is just a disaster.
think he brings up some interesting questions. His biggest point is that Charlie Kirk's timeline from his death to the medical examiner's trip to the funeral home to being prepared for a public viewing seems incredibly short. And honestly, if you've never worked in funeral service, I can absolutely understand why that would raise some eyebrows. So today we're going to do something I've done a few times before, but right now I'm going to be going back and forth with my computer, like hit go, hit play, go. We're going to watch parts of Baron's video together. I'll let him explain what he's seeing, and then I'm going to pause it and tell you what I know from actually working in funeral service my entire life. Now, some of his questions have straightforward answers. Some of them have answers that depend on the circumstances, and some of them are just really good observations that deserve a little bit more context. This isn't about proving anybody wrong. Please do not go and give Baron any hate. If anything, go check out his channel. He does have some interesting videos. This is just about explaining what happens behind the scenes so you can better understand whether this timeline is unusual or if it actually makes sense. And as per usual, cue the intro, Hannah.
Sorry.
I'm like really up in your face. I have to be up in your face though, because we're going to watch some stuff together. So hold on.
Charlie's.
Okay, so Lauren is going to go through Baron Coleman's recent video talking about the timeline that is too short, right? And she's just going to debunk it. It's a lot of press the bar. So if you're familiar with just press the bar, I'm not going to stop a lot because she's doing a great job. So I don't want to ruin it at all. So thank you to everybody who's hopped in. Please make sure that you hit the like button, all that kind of good stuff. Say what's up to your people and check this out. The link to this video and the video we're going to watch later are both down in the description. Let's get going.
Body. I mean, I hate to be so crass, but it's what it is. I have footage here of when Charlie was leaving Timpanogos Hospital in Orem, Utah, around 8 o'clock at night. This is Charlie's body leaving the hospital. That's Timpanogos Regional Hospital. There goes the first police car. You can see all these cars pulling out, and they're headed to the medical examiner's office, to Salt Lake City. That's about a 45-minute drive, maybe an hour. That puts him there no earlier, really, than 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock's their starting time. Well, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock they left the hospital. 9 o'clock they're at the medical examiner's office.
And once you get there, you got to get them out of the car. You got to get them into the medical examiner's office. You got to get them prepped.
Okay, I've done this job so long that I just don't realize that people don't know how long things take. Getting to the medical examiner's office, the hardest part is the drive. When you get there, you have to open the back hatch on your minivan, wheel the cot out of the van. You roll them into a receiving area where the autopsy table is waiting. You wheel them in, you open your cot bag. There's like a zipper and a little protective pouch, and then you grab the body bag that they're sealed inside of, grab from the head, grab from the middle, and pull. You write their name on the bag, you document how much they weigh, there's a scale under them, and then you sign them into, it's like a registrar book. Their name, date of death, who you are, logging them in. That might take 5-10 minutes, not long at all. We don't get them prepped for autopsy, but sometimes they're waiting.
Most of the time, I looked at the policies in Utah. They do not do medical examinations outside of business hours or weekends.
So this job is not a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of job.
If he leaves Wednesday night at 8 p.m. in Timpanogos and Orem and he doesn't...
See, this is the part where the reason I say that Baron Coleman is an idiot is you're crafting a story based upon what you're looking up online. And we all have done it, so nobody's innocent. But this one right here is really egregious because you're crafting a story that fits your insincere questions and your insincere narrative. That's why I say that he's not a fair dealer. If you were just saying, hey, I looked up how long it takes to fix an alternator in a 2012 Honda Odyssey, and it should take this amount of time. Well, yeah, you might be able to go to the mechanic and say, hey, it should take 2 hours to repair it. I mean, that would be a reasonable bit. But to say that, hey, well, I know how long it takes to build a 2012 Honda Odyssey because I looked up, how long it takes to get this shipment into this. You would be a fool to do that. And that's what I'm saying. Baron Coleman is literally trying to craft the entire narrative based upon looking up regulations and so on and so forth. And I know for a fact that morticians and undertakers do work after hours. So what Lauren is saying is right on the money. But let's go.
Drive in Salt Lake City till 9. That's outside of business hours.
Doesn't matter.
Let's just say they decided to do a middle of the night examination.
They definitely did. Absolutely. 100%. This timeline doesn't make sense if they didn't. So I absolutely believe that they did.
How long does the examination last? Best guess I can get on a typical gunshot, 2 to 4 hours from start to finish. That's the examination. That's not prepping the body back.
I'd say that's a pretty good guesstimate, but I feel like 4 hours is a little long. So where our medical examiner's office is, I would have to drive an hour and a half to bring the body into the office. I typically would like to leave there with them the same day if I can, can. As long as the family has authorized, I can pick them up and bring them back to the funeral home with me. So I have dropped off a body and then sat there and waited. And I might wait an hour, hour and a half, and they're done. And I'm out of there. So if they can get them in right away, they can get them out right away. 4 hours sounds kind of long. I would guess maybe closer to 2.
But there's also, shout out to Y2K Survivor. Shout out to you. I like that name. Yes, not only is he a high profile person, but in a moment we're going to hear there's a lot of high profile people that are encouraging this to get done. So this was going to get done overnight, no matter what. I mean, come on, let's stop playing the game. So again, this is the part where I'm saying like Baron Coleman shows and demonstrates his lack of understanding and his positioning himself as an expert to his audience. And now they are running with this narrative that he's put in their minds, and they really truly don't have the true information. Continue. I bet you'll find them arguing with Lauren. You'll probably hear him arguing with her.
Then you got to put things back together and then.
Okay, put things back together. He's talking about putting the body back together. The medical examiner's office does not put the body back together. That is the mortician, funeral director, embalmer's job. All they do is place the organs inside of a red viscera bag. They place that back into the abdomen when they're done measuring and taking samples or documenting. And then they take the body and just kind of place it back together and maybe do a loose stitch all the way down. Then they pull the person over into the body bag and close the body bag. If they do a full cranial exam, they just put the skull cap kind of like back. They don't close everything up because they don't know if that person's going to be cremated. They don't know if they're going to be buried. They don't know if there's a donation team that's going to come in after the fact. They're just there doing their job, and it's not necessarily their job to put the body back together. That's my job, the mortician at the funeral home.
And then he would be ready to go. Typically, bodies aren't released immediately after the examination.
They can be. And from the sounds of this case, he absolutely was.
They're put back in the morgue at the medical examiner's office where they stay for another 24 to 48 hours.
The only reason they would stay 24 to 48 hours, that's when they're trying to get the authorization from the family to say, hey, we selected so-and-so funeral home. They can immediately be released to the funeral home. Bada bing, bada boom.
While the paperwork processes and they're released. But when you have the Vice President of the United States on his way in, you get treated differently. You might get a middle of the night medical examination. You might get released the same day.
So he brought up the questions and then brought us right to the answer. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
And we know that he was released before 5:04 a.m. because at 5:04 a.m., we have a newscast that had somebody positioned outside the medical examiner's office. We assume they didn't arrive exactly at 5:04 and immediately go on air.
So I'm waiting for him to show footage of the funeral director leaving the medical examiner's office, but I don't think he has it. So he's trying to say that the body wasn't picked up. Let me see if there's more.
But 5:04 a.m., they had people on site. Another reporter was sitting outside at 10 a.m. These people stayed here from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
That's because his body was probably picked up right after the autopsy, which was more than likely after midnight, definitely before 5 a.m. A lot happens when somebody calls to report a death to the funeral home. And if they have a plan, and especially, again, high profile case, there's already plans being made. So when they call the funeral home and say, hey, this is the plan, you as the embalmer, you as the mortician, you're already coming up with a timeline in your head. Oh, they need him shipped out immediately? We need to go to the medical examiner's office now. The medical examiner will call you, say, hey, he's been released. You can come now. They'll have an attendant there. Or if it's a smaller office, you can call and let them know you're coming and they can meet you there. So there's definitely ways to pick up people from the medical examiner's office if they're closed, especially on high profile cases. I wish there was an abbreviation for high profile case because I feel like I'm going to say that a lot, but that is what this is.
They saw nothing.
They saw nothing because they did it in the middle of the night. Because again, we are not a Monday through Friday 9 to 5. There was an embalmer on the phone knowing that they had a autopsy body that they needed embalmed stat. So they picked him up right away.
Yeah, see, that's the part. Like, you're just assuming that these people are, again, I know for a fact that morticians work and undertakers work 24 hours. Like, if they need to, they're going to be there cremating at 1 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be embalming, the same thing. Like, again, Baron is either A, he's willfully ignorant, or he's just gleefully ignorant and just trying to, or even deceptively ignorant and lying to his audience. But one of those things is true. And so shout out for sure. Okay.
Means if the 5 a.m. crew didn't see him and they were there for 4 hours and these guys didn't see him and they were there all day, he had to be gone before 5 a.m.
Is that surprising to people? We're like the midnight barber. I would rather go out when there's no traffic, knowing that I need to get that embalming done as soon as possible. And it needs to be a strong embalming too, because they're going to be shipping them out. As soon as that body's been released, I'm there picking them up immediately.
For a complete medical examination to take place between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m., that's only 8 hours.
I don't know what else to tell you. That's very doable.
You've got to get the body in. You got to get it prepped for the examination.
See,
You have to
this
do
is
the
a-
examination.
And see, this is something that you and I probably would not understand either. We would probably think that it's a long process in preparing the body, but it's really not. According to Lauren and other sources, it's not a long process. So for them to, and went later on when he's trying to explain the funeral home, and again, it doesn't happen like that. So shout out to Lauren for sure. Right. Decay and decomposition don't wait for office hours. We only decay from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Like he literally said Monday through Friday, like they don't work on Sundays. Like that's crazy work.
It's not like a 1-minute deal. Then you got to put everything back together, move the body back to the parking lot. You got to get them loaded up. You got to drive away. All that
You're bringing up a lot of things, Baron, that don't take a lot of time. All those
Right.
extra things, the cleaning up, that would take place at the funeral home. Loading him up only takes a couple of minutes and he would be out of there. And I would be speeding, driving on 2 wheels, getting back to the funeral home so I can begin the embalming.
all that had to be done by like 4:30. When was there time to do an accurate medical examination? What happened?
2 to 4 hours is the perfect amount of time to do a medical examination. I mean, that's what you said, right? I've seen him do it in an hour. So yeah.
You know, there were rumors earlier.
So there's actually, this is part of, and I know I told you I wasn't going to talk a whole lot. I'm going to try my best not to, but there's this whole thing that not enough investigation happened. That's why Cantifa loses their mind about whether or not UVU cemented over the plaza, or here they didn't take enough time. They want you to take a lot of time to do something. For what reason? These are professionals. Lauren is a professional. If she says it takes 2 to 4 hours, I got to step back and say it takes 2 to 4 hours. Why would what do I want her to do? Take 10 hours for what? What do you want her to take 10 hours for? She already done. The body's decomping now. What are we doing? She's done her job. Why do you want it to be something different? That's the thing that just doesn't make sense to me. And I see it a lot. So a lot of these people keep making a lot of hay about, well, it went too fast. Speedy trial. I hear a lot of people talking about speedy trial. You mean to tell me you don't think Tyler Robinson's attorneys are working 24/7? What, a speedy trial? They should be ready right now. In any other case, what are we doing? These are the professionals. This is their job. We are the armchair quarterbacks. Sit back and be quiet. Let's go.
On that there was no autopsy done.
So that was debunked really early on. The medical examiner's office there, they don't know who, but I have a contact at the office. They were very kind and told me that the autopsy was done. I was able to verify their credentials. So I know in my heart of hearts that he did have an autopsy done, but also it's standard practice with a murder investigation, homicide, self-unaliving. If there's an investigation, they're going to have an autopsy. There was rumors going around that he didn't because some sort of officer was like, he didn't get sent down for the autopsy, but he did. I don't know why that got leaked.
Nevertheless, I will accept on its face that it happened.
Again, I just want to say it definitely happened. Just to recap, his body left the hospital at 8 o'clock, arrived at the medical examiner's office about 9 o'clock. Best educated guess is the autopsy happened right away. And then after midnight, he was picked up by the funeral home, embalmed immediately. And now we are on to the next day. He's thinking that they left the hotel around noonish.
We have a picture of Erica Kirk draped over the casket. We were initially told this picture was taken at a different funeral home. This picture was not released until after Erica gave her speech on September 12th. So there was really no idea where the picture was taken. He left the medical examiner's office and went to a funeral home, but we didn't know which one. Then we know he went to Air Force 2 and went back to Arizona to a different funeral home.
He's talking about the fact that one funeral home picked up his body, did the preparation work. They had the viewing at that funeral home, and then a secondary funeral home received him into their care. Very common for funeral homes to work together. Very common for Erica Kirk to call the funeral home she actually wanted to use choose in Arizona, the Arizona funeral home is going to then get into contact with the Utah one and say, hey, we have Charlie Kirk at the medical examiner's office. I need help. Would you be able to go over there, pick up his body, embalm him for me, make sure that you make it a little extra strong of a solution, hit him hard, because we need you to then fly him out the next day. And actually, by the way, no big deal. The vice president's going to be there on Air Force Two. Totally
No
doable.
stress.
That's why we have answering services that answer our phone calls 24/7. There are still some funeral homes that answer their own phone calls still. Shout out ASD.
We were able to look at the interior of the funeral home where it pulled into and realize that's not the same funeral home where the picture took place. So those pictures weren't in Arizona. They couldn't have been.
It's very common for families to come have an open casket gathering to say goodbye, to really spend time with their person. No matter how long or short that time is, then we close the casket, we go to the airport. It just depends on what the family wants or needs. And if they wanted that time with their loved one, then the funeral home will accommodate to make that happen before we bring them to the airport.
We dug around all of the funeral homes in the area. Luckily for us, they have different furniture, different carpet, different trimmings on the walls.
I love the dedication. I love it.
And we were finally able to figure out which room this picture was taken in. It's this room here.
It's a really nice funeral home.
And we know because there's paneling on the wall consistent with what we saw. We saw these lamps and we saw this carpet. The carpet reminds me of the girl's dress. You couldn't tell if it was white or blue.
Just be glad it's updated carpet, because most funeral homes, the carpet is like the last damn thing that they update. That's pretty nice carpet.
And by finding
Okay, I'm sorry. The fact that Baron Coleman is excited over the fact that he thinks he found the room that the viewing of the body happened in is diabolical work. Like, for real, sir? Like, for real? Like, really? That's really what you're hanging your hat on? Because then in a moment, he's going to talk about how long it took to get from this room down the hallway. He's like, as if he measured it. It's crazy work. I'm like, dude, for real? Like, for real? But either A, the people did what they said they did, or they didn't. If you're saying that they did, then all of this other malarkey about, we found the room, look at the paneling. In a minute, he's going to literally talk about how long it takes to walk down the hallway. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. That's such, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Coleman is, yeah, he's creepy as all get out, man. The dude, that's just creep. That's just creep work. I don't know. You're not gonna beat those charges. Let's go.
the room, we're able to map out how long it would take to get from the medical examiner's office to that funeral home.
How long?
More importantly, we're able to find out how long it would take to get from that funeral home back to the airport.
This is dedication.
Here is the picture, just in case you don't believe me.
Nobody
If this
cares.
was the same funeral home, tell me this is not the same place. If the earliest arrival time, we'll call it 1:30. Do you know what time Air Force Two landed at Salt Lake City? 2:24. It's an hour away. So if you get to the funeral home at 1:30 and the Vice President of the United States lands an hour away,
You're guessing that they got there at 1:30. I'm going to guess they got there at 1 o'clock, 12:30, definitely sooner.
you would have to leave almost immediately.
At the funeral home, we plan for things very strategically. We're already going to have the time plan that we need to leave for the airport, and we want to make sure that we give the family at minimum an hour. Do with that what you will.
They got there, we're guessing, around 3:30 based
You're
on
guessing.
the pictures and everything else we're able to find. Here's a picture of Charlie Kirk and a hearse arriving at the Salt Lake City airport where Air Force Two was. And we know now that it's the right funeral home. After the photo op, you've got to close the casket. You've got to get it ready to move.
So the casket was already on wheels in the chapel when she's sitting up next to it. That's called a church truck. It's a movable little cart. We set the casket on it. We center the casket on it, and it moves around the chapel. He's already in the casket. He's ready to go. He is ready for transport. Closing the casket would take all of a minute.
You've got to bring in the little wheelie thing. You got to
Already on the wheelie thing.
wheel them through the funeral home. You got to
Another minute.
wheel them through the garage. You got to load them up into the car. You got to lock the casket in place. You got to shut the doors.
Again, I think all of that would take tops 10 minutes. Like when we're ready to go, we're ready to go. Family's not going to mess around. Follow me. We're on our way to the airport.
Let me also jump in here. If you've ever done a military funeral, had a loved one or been a part of a military funeral where they're going to be interned at a military cemetery, you know what she's about to say right here is the gospel truth. My grandfather-in-law passed away last year. Great man, wonderful guy. I'm getting broken up a little bit thinking about it. However, when he passed away, the funeral, don't quote me on this, the funeral was over at like 12:30, right? And I told y'all I hate being places late. So I'm already like, okay, we're going to the cemetery, right? I'm over here antsy, 12:45. I'm getting on people's nerve by 1 o'clock. We could not leave the church until 2:15. Your boy was crawling up the walls. I was like, we gotta go. Because I'm thinking again how we have to be on time. But no, you cannot get to a military cemetery 5 seconds early. You cannot. Like, you cannot get there early. You have to get there. If they say you cannot be there until 12:30 or 2:30, you cannot be there at 2:15, Jason. You better not show up there at 2:00 because you're going to be standing outside. They will not let you on the property. And they did not. So long story short, when Granddaddy passed away, we what she's about to say is true because I saw it happen. You got the police escort, you blowing stoplights, all that kind of stuff like that. And guess what? They open those gates up to the cemetery, you roll right in. They will not open those gates up beforehand. So everything she's saying right here, I agree with 100%. Because I saw it in real time.
It's not like you run in, do a photo op for 3 minutes, and then like immediately, all right, let's pack it up. Let's go. We did our photo op. Get out.
I think they could have done all that in 15 minutes because they knew that they'd get to see him again. It's not like that was the final goodbye. They had their own private burial. So this was more of a let's spend a little bit of time with him before we fly him off and then drive all together to the airport. I've done airport pickups and drop-offs for active duty military that have died, and you all drive together to the airport. You stay in a line because you're meeting somebody at the airport and they're bringing you onto the tarmac. That's a process. That's a big process. So you need to arrive together in as few vehicles as possible. You all want to ride together, maybe have a limo where everybody can ride in one vehicle, just so that we don't get separated and then we don't take up the whole tarmac with like 50 different vehicles. So we're all going to drive together. We're all going to arrive together, and they're going to direct us to the place that we need to go with the body so that we can be a part of the process of them unloading the casket and then us loading it onto the plane or deplaning. Both of the ones that I have been on the tarmac, they had died active duty and then were flown to me. So I met with the family ahead of time. We went to tarmac and we waited while they unloaded, and then we placed them in the hearse and we started heading back home to hometown.
Earliest they could have possibly arrived was around 1:30, and then they would have had to leave by 2:30 in order to get to the airport on time. And it's not like it takes 1 minute to pack up the body and get it into the hearse.
I think I would need 2 minutes.
How long could she possibly have been there?
Normally, if you're the funeral director and you're calling the family and they know that there's a time crunch, you set that expectation immediately and you tell them, this is how much time we have at the funeral home. We only have 30 minutes and then we need to be on the road. They want to be on time too. They don't want to be behind schedule, especially if you have Air Force Two waiting on you, that rhymed, at the airport. So families are very understanding and very flexible, knowing that we have a timeline.
It's interesting because...
let me say, I agree with everything Lauren said, except I didn't get the privilege of the Air Force Two kind of situation in the tarmac. So, everything else she said, I agree with. I could amen, but I didn't get, Daddy didn't get the Air Force Two kind of situation. So shout out to that for sure.
He was in a suit. And we know that he didn't take a suit to Utah. He was never seen in a suit. Why would he take a suit unless he was planning to have a funeral? Notice they don't live there. So it's not like someone ran home and grabbed one for him real fast. If you look at the picture and you look at the video, that's not a new suit. They didn't go buy a suit. And it's certainly not a new tie, nor is it a tie, frankly, I think Charlie would wear.
Okay. I don't know really any. I want to input on this because families will absolutely buy new suits. Yeah. He's trying to say that it's a suit that Charlie already owned. And I think the only person that really knows that would be Erica or the family. Again, I think we're downplaying how quickly someone could get into town. They could have had an assistant that flew with the suit overnight. They could have had someone immediately get in the car and start driving. I really don't know. I do think it would be doable, even if they showed up, and I'm being for real, with the suit at noon. I could still have him dressed and casketed if they were going to be there at 1:30. And maybe that's why I've talked about the cosmetics on Charlie's hands and how they're really orange. Maybe that's why his cosmetics were so not that great. Why his hands looked so orange is because it was a rush job. They rushed the cosmetics. Definitely could have been totally doable. You would not put makeup on his hands until after he was in the suit. So that would actually explain maybe a little bit more on why I didn't like his hands, because they didn't spend a whole lot of time on him. They just very quickly dust, paint, wanted to make him look as lifelike as possible, even though he's very dead. Okay, so let's talk about what I think the timeline probably looked like, because I noticed something nobody was really talking about. Like, this guy didn't bring up the embalming. I was waiting for it. I was like chomping at the bit. He didn't bring it up, unless he did, and I missed it, but it was 3 hours.
Well, see, the thing is, Baron Coleman is an idiot and he doesn't know anything about embalming. So he's just literally idiot maxing right off of Wikipedia, like how to be an undertaker. Undertakers are us or something. And, morticians.com. That's all he's looking at. He didn't talk to a real medical examiner, a real mortician, sit down and talk to a real undertaker. I mean, for crying out loud, man, if you go knock on the door at any funeral, any cemetery, I guarantee they'll probably talk to you. They're going to sell you a plot, but they'll talk to you and you might want to get a plot. It might be actually something intelligent to do, but I think you get the point. Like, just the idea that it wasn't a new suit. It wasn't a suit that I think Charlie would wear the tie. How stupid is that? That's some grade A retardedness, man. That is. I'm sorry. Based upon information and belief, Baron Coleman is an idiot, and he's idiot maxing. He's trying to get as much idiocy out into the world as possible. Like, really? That's just dumb. Okay, let's go. Shout out to Lauren.
Hours long. We know Charlie Kirk was picked up from the medical examiner's office before 4 a.m. because news crews capture that. We've got that established. So let's say, worst case scenario, embalming didn't even begin until, 4 in the morning. Let's say 4. I think it was sooner, but let's say 4. Could a funeral home perform a thorough post-autopsy embalming, prepare him for a private family viewing, and have him ready later that day? Absolutely, 100%. Would it have made for a very busy day at the funeral home? Absolutely. Let
me also just add, because there's something that I love Lauren. I want to wrap my arms around Lauren. I think she's a great person. It's Charlie Kirk. I mean, come on. We are talking about, they're going to probably move heaven and earth to do this in a day. It doesn't matter. It is Charlie Kirk, for crying out loud. Now, for you and me, we're going to be on that slab for about 3 days, right? We're not going to get this treatment. We're not going to get this special treatment. But no, it's Charlie Kirk. Yes, they're going to come in early. They're going to come in and work overnight. They're going to have more morticians than normal. They're going to do everything to get this done and get it done right. Absolutely. You're almost forgetting, like, Baron Coleman just kind of overlooks that. Like, we're not talking about the milkman that got hit by a doggone, he got hit by a mail truck. We're talking about Charlie Kirk, for crying out loud. Like, he's going to get special treatment. Period. End of sentence. That's it. Let's go.
Think that they were still embalming him when the family came in to make arrangements that morning and pick out the casket. Yes, I think that's a very real possibility. But looking at it through funeral service eyes, nothing about this timeline made me go, wait a second, that's impossible. Quite the opposite. Now, embalming isn't a one-size-fits-all. It depends on a lot of things. Was it a full autopsy? Was it just a cranial exam? What condition was the body in? Every case is different. Because this appears to have been an active investigation, I'm assuming it was a full autopsy. And when we're embalming someone after a full autopsy, we're not just embalming one body, one unit. Every limb has to be embalmed individually. The head is embalmed separately. The organs, which are placed in that red viscera bag during the autopsy, also have to be chemically preserved before they're returned to the body. We're trying to get as much drainage as we can while injecting each limb, each arm, each leg, everything. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. It would take hours. Personally, I think the embalming was probably the longest part of this entire process. If I had to guess where the bulk of the day was spent, it was right there in the prep room. Once the embalming was complete, he would have been dressed, placed in the casket, and prepared for a private family viewing. I could have had him dressed and casketed and starting the cosmetics within an hour. There are several different ways that day could have unfolded, but every version of that timeline is completely reasonable from a funeral service standpoint. One question I kept seeing, how do you know Charlie Kirk was embalmed? I want to talk about this because there is absolutely a 0% chance I would have a family come in and view an autopsied body that had not been embalmed. No. And with her videos and photos that she took with...
And maybe we need to find out. I don't know what would happen if you didn't embalm a body. I don't know that question. I'm really just asking. Like, what do you mean? Because she sounds like that would be the worst thing in the world. Like, what would happen if you what happens? Like, matter of fact, we might need to go back to zero. What is embalming? We might need to turn this into like a little, like, now we're like pre-K morticians. What is embalming? What does it do? What's the difference between an embalmed body and a non-embalmed body? Like, maybe we need to have that conversation. But again, Lauren is super smart and oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. That makes perfect sense. That makes 1,000. Thank you, Mindy Ann. Thank you. You get a gold star. You go to the front of the Mortician pre-K class. That makes perfect sense. But maybe we have to look into that because it's kind of interesting. And I'm like, besides odor, yeah, you're right. I got you now. Okay, yeah. Okay, y'all see, that's why this is the best live chat on the internet. That's why. Shout out to y'all. Let's go.
His body, no, he would 100% have to be embalmed. After an autopsy, the body has been opened. Why incision? Medical procedure. The organs have been removed, examined. Everything has to be reconstructed, preserved, and cared for before that family walks through the door. And here's the other thing people don't always think about because they don't live in a funeral home. An autopsy speeds up the changes that naturally happen after death. That's nobody's fault. It's just biology. So if my goal as a funeral director is to give a family the very best possible viewing, I'm embalming as soon as I reasonably can. The minute that embalming was done for Charlie Kirk at the medical examiner's office, and I've got the family's okay, I would have been there. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I would have been there and immediately been going back to the funeral home to embalm. Not because we're trying to rush anybody, but because we are trying to slow nature down, get the embalming done as quickly as we can, and give that family as much time with their loved one as possible. Literally our job. Another thing people kept asking about was his hands. Everybody talks about his hands. I'm going to put the little comment like here. I don't know. Here. I swear you guys notice everything. Carpet color, hand placement.
Let me back up. Let me see what the comment said.
Was his hands. Everybody talks about his hands. I'm going to put the little comment like here. I don't know.
Girl, we need you in this so much. Have you seen Baron Coleman's podcast where he breaks down there would not have been time for Charlie Kirk to have had proper autopsy with the schedule they had, and others have pointed out that Erica was draped over the casket and Charlie's hands looked like he had been embalmed, that there also wasn't enough time for him to have been embalmed at the point with everything else that had happened, that had to happen. I don't know what to believe. You are the expert, absolutely begging for a follow-up on this one. Okay, that's a reasonable, that's a humble ask. I hate that you're using Baron Coleman because of it, because I think Baron Coleman's a retard, but okay, I disagree. Let's go.
I swear you guys notice everything. Carpet color, hand placement, nothing gets past the internet. But honestly, nothing about the hands stood out to me other than they were cosmetized poorly. I want to pop up one more comment on the screen here that I saw. I got messages about his hand placement.
Have you seen the video of Erica Kirk at Charlie Kirk's service where she is leaning into the casket? The question is, does Charlie's body position look okay to you? I haven't been to a lot of funerals, but the few I've been to, I recall the hands were placed left over right. Oh my gosh, man, come on. Have you not seen those crazy funerals? That funeral home in Missouri, I think it is, that will do whatever. I mean, your body, they put you on a bicycle, they sit you up in a car, they got the person look like they're playing a video game. It is the craziest thing. Girl, are you really? See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the part where people, there's no level, Michael Elliott, there's no amount of humility there. Like, really, it's suspect because the two funerals you went to, they laid the hands right over left. But I mean, come on, man. That's just stupid. I hate that Lauren even had to answer that question.
Placement. How Charlie Kirk's hands were placed in the casket. Because typically we're used to going to an open casket and seeing the hands one over the other, kind of like they're here. Not here. Down.
Right.
I know you can't see that, but I'm like down,
this.
like right above my belly button or at the belly button. There isn't a funeral director rule book that says every person has to have their hands folded exactly one way. More commonly, we'll place one hand gently over the other. Sometimes, especially if someone has broader shoulders, a larger frame, maybe they're heavier set, their hands rest a little farther apart because, well, that's just what looks the most natural. We want them to look comfortable. I don't want you to look like you're trying to fit in in an itty bitty casket. I want you to look comfy. I don't want it to look like I'm posing an action figure. So by having Charlie Kirk's hands down and not one over the other, the question is why? Could it have simply been the embalmer's preference? I think so. Absolutely. I also noticed he wasn't wearing a wedding ring. A lot of funeral directors will intentionally leave the left hand visible over the right. So if somebody wears a wedding ring, families often notice that. They notice those little details. Without one, there's a little bit more flexibility in how you position the hands. So if you're looking at his hands, still trying to run with that mannequin theory, and you're thinking, oh, that's weird, why are his hands down here? To me, that looked like a completely normal casket presentation. Well, I finished filming this stitch, and now it looks like I might have to make another one because Candace Owens has entered the chat again. So stay tuned for that one. And if you enjoyed this video where I stitch another creator and explain the funeral service side of things, let me know down in the comments. I've stitched videos before, but this is the first time I've really done it with another YouTube to YouTube creator. And I do want to thank the original creator for starting the conversation. Again, no hate whatsoever. He seems like a really nice guy. I feel like we'd have some really interesting conversations. And he brought up questions that a lot of people were already wondering about. I just happen to have a perspective that comes from working in funeral service, and I hope it helps explain why some of these things aren't as unusual as they first might seem. At the end of the day, you're allowed to believe whatever you want. Isn't that great? My job isn't to tell you what to think. My job is to explain how funeral service works, because most people never get to see the behind the scenes, behind the curtain, until it's their family member. If I can make one confusing day make a little more sense for someone, then I've done my job. I'm Lauren the Mortician, and I debunk death myths for a living. We talk about death, dying, and decay, whoa, or kind of whatever in the mood for. If you couldn't tell, I could talk about this stuff all day long. Yes, so if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe and stick around for more funeral science, death myths. And we do Morbid Monday every Monday, so see you around town. Now, we've talked about some pretty heavy stuff. I think we have earned some mango kisses. So let me go get the mango. This is Mango, middle name Rita, Mango Rita.
Oh
okay, thank the people. Say we'll see you Monday. Kisses are this way. Oh, good. Okay, bye.
Look at his tongue. Ay, ay, ay. I'm not a dog person. Shout out to Lauren the Mortician. I thought that was very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to have to, but back to the hand thing. Have y'all seen those funerals? It's a company. I want to say they're in St. Louis, but they do all this kind of crazy stuff with the body. So just because you've seen it a certain way, don't, how is that making, let me see. Yep. Look, Lord have mercy. Let me pull this in. Like right off the bat, they got this dude in a box like he's a doggone Ken doll. They got this one. This dude is standing up. Hold on, let me click on it so y'all can see, so y'all don't think I'm playing. Look at this foolishness. Look at this. Where his hands at? Lord have mercy, this is so embarrassing. Take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. See, this is exactly why aliens won't talk to us.
So we're doing this at funerals now.
Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Oh, I gotta turn that music off. Lord have mercy. Yeah, that's exact. But I'm saying, like, look at this. Oh, Lord have mercy. When you know what's gonna happen. What are they doing? That just looks bad. Oh, man. That's a big casket, too. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Take the wheel, Jesus. Take the wheel. Okay, I just want to show y'all that. Okay, can we all admit, can we at least put that one to bed? That his hand placement was not weird? Can we at least put that one? I don't remember Mother Teresa. I don't know. Oh, man, there is a part. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Take the wheel, Jesus. Jesus, take the wheel. Take the wheel, Lord. Hold on, let me see. When was this? When did she do this one? She did this one. Let me see, because this was literally just the other day. Okay, so this one's her response to Candace is going to be forthcoming. Let's just say it like that. Yeah, I mean, a cremation. I told y'all, a cremation. The urn can be buried. You can bury the urn, and have a spot. Most cemeteries have an urn garden. You can put it like it's almost a mausoleum for the urn. So there's a lot of different ways, man, to deal with that. So just to say like, oh, this should only be one way is crazy work. That's just insane. I mean, there's no other way around it. You're not going to beat those charges. It's just silly. I do want to bring this content creator in here. This one is actually a little bit way longer, and it's help solve the case. And she's going over the evidence of Tyler Robinson. I thought it was super informative. It gives you a lot more to run with, if you will, a lot more to understand as the preliminary information. Hopefully we'll be hearing soon enough about the moving forward on this case and it being bonded over to trial. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.